What if Prince Charming from the classic story of Cinderella wasn't the perfect hero everyone imagines? An intriguing theory suggests that he was, in fact, under a spell cast to make him fall in love with Cinderella. The one responsible could be the fairy godmother, who might have manipulated fate to ensure Cinderella's happily ever after. But does this theory really hold up? In the original story of Cinderella, the meeting with Prince Charming is characterized by the classic love at first sight. However, the theory suggests that this immediate feeling of the prince for Cinderella could have been the result of a spell. And who could have cast this spell? The fairy godmother, one of the most benevolent characters in the story, but one with considerable magical power, and, above all, an almost obsessive desire to ensure Cinderella's happy ending. The fairy godmother has already shown she is willing to go beyond the usual rules to help Cinderella, transforming pumpkins into carriages and mice into horses. So, it wouldn't be absurd to think that she would use her abilities to influence the prince. If real, the spell was probably activated the moment the prince's gaze met Cinderella's, creating an instant, magical connection. Additionally, Cinderella is portrayed in the film as a kind young woman, but of humble origins. However, even without knowing her name or story, the prince seems determined to find her, suggesting a forced connection. Instead of a developed feeling, what we see is an intense and immediate attraction, raising doubts about the authenticity of this love. After all, the fairy godmother might have been acting in haste, with no time to allow the relationship to form naturally. This kind of magical intervention is not uncommon in fairy tales, where we frequently see characters under love spells or magical manipulations, as in Sleeping Beauty or Beauty and the Beast. The question is, to what extent was the prince's free will respected? The fairy godmother could justify her actions under the premise of a greater good, but does that make her actions right? Now, let's analyze the evidence that could support this theory. Firstly, there is the prince's behavior during the ball. When he sees Cinderella for the first time, his reaction is practically automatic and without hesitation. He doesn't ask questions, doesn't try to learn more about her, and, even knowing almost nothing about Cinderella, ignores all other suitors in the hall. This immediate reaction could be a strong indication that he was under a magical influence, as it seems more like a charmed instinct than a genuine feeling. Furthermore, after the ball, the prince appears desperate to find Cinderella, with only a glass slipper as a clue. He does not consider other practical aspects, such as the fact that there could be many women in his kingdom with the same shoe size. This insistence on a forced connection can also be seen as a sign of a spell, as he seems stuck to the idea that Cinderella is his only option. Another curious point is how the fairy godmother behaves during the ball. When preparing Cinderella for the event, she seems extremely confident that everything will work out. It's as if she already knew that the prince would be irresistibly drawn to Cinderella, which could indicate that she had manipulated the meeting to ensure success. This confidence of the fairy godmother could be seen as a possible indication that the spell was active. The idea of a love spell is not new in the fairy tale universe. There are many examples of characters who are magically manipulated to fall in love or to change their behavior, as happens in Sleeping Beauty, where Aurora is enchanted to sleep until awakened by a true love's kiss, or in Beauty and the Beast, where the beast must win Belle's love to break a curse. These stories show that the concept of using magic to influence love and relationships is common in the magical world. Thus, it wouldn't be impossible to think that a similar spell could be in action in Cinderella. The fairy godmother, being a powerful figure and experienced in magic, would have the knowledge to cast a subtle enough spell that the prince wouldn't realize he was being influenced, but strong enough to direct his affection towards Cinderella. The very dynamic of forced love is seen differently in these tales. Sometimes the spell is broken by true love. Other times, the spell is accepted as part of the character's destiny. In the case of Prince Charming, if this theory were true, his enchantment would not be broken, but rather accepted as part of the happily ever after. This raises an ethical question. What is more important in a fairy tale, true love or a happy ending at any cost? Although this theory is intriguing, there are arguments that could disprove it. One of the clearest examples comes from the second film in the franchise, Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True, where Lady Tremaine, Cinderella's stepmother, uses a spell to manipulate the prince. In this film, she casts a love spell on him to make him fall in love with Anastasia, one of Cinderella's stepsisters. During this spell, the prince's eyes change color to green, a visual detail that indicates the malicious nature of the spell. However, in the first film, we don't see anything similar happen to Prince Charming when he falls in love with Cinderella. If the fairy godmother really had enchanted the prince, some kind of sign, even a subtle one, would be expected to indicate the use of magic, even if benign. argument. The lack of a physical change or radical behavior suggests that the prince's love may be genuine. Another important point is that, unlike Lady Tremaine, the fairy godmother has no evil intentions. Her magic, as seen throughout the film, is aimed at Cinderella's well-being, and the use of a love spell could contradict her role as a benevolent guide. Even if she interfered in Cinderella's life, her goal seems to be only to provide a fair chance, not to directly manipulate the prince's will. So, was Prince Charming really under a spell? The theory that the fairy godmother cast a love spell to ensure Cinderella's happy ending certainly has its interesting points, especially considering the prince's immediate and intense behavior. However, the absence of visible signs of magic, along with the fairy godmother's benevolent nature, offers reasons to doubt this manipulation. Despite the theories about a possible love spell, the romance between Cinderella and Prince Charming is one of the most enchanting elements of the story. Their meeting at the ball is marked by a true moment of magic, symbolizing the classic love at first sight, one of the central themes of fairy tales. Even though the love is sudden, it is precisely this spontaneity that captivates viewers and is part of the enchantment of the narrative. Their relationship is built around a special connection, despite the limited time of interaction. At the ball, we see the prince abandoning all other suitors to focus solely on Cinderella. He doesn't seem interested in her social position, but rather in the person behind the dazzling dress. This choice reinforces the idea that the romance is based on genuine chemistry and a desire for an emotional connection, even though it is set in a dreamy, fantastical scenario. The famous glass slipper is another important element in their romance. More than just a simple object, it symbolizes Cinderella's delicacy and uniqueness, as well as the prince's quest to find a true and unique love. The prince's determination to locate the slipper's owner is seen as a romantic gesture, representing his will not to let that special moment slip away. It is a symbol of commitment and a love that overcomes barriers, reinforcing the more idealistic side of the romance. In the end, regardless of theories about magic or manipulation, Cinderella and the prince's happy ending is what makes the story so memorable and moving. It is a reward not only for Cinderella, who has suffered for so long, but also for the audience, who root for a happy outcome. Their love is a reflection of the universal desire for pure and true love, a feeling that transcends all hardships and even time itself. Even so, this theory raises intriguing ethical questions about the role of magic in fairy tales. To what extent is it fair to interfere with free will, even with good intentions? And if it were true, would Cinderella and the prince's happily ever after have the same value? Now, I want to hear your opinion. Do you think the prince was enchanted, or do you believe that the love was genuine from the beginning? Leave your comment and share this theory with other animation fans.